wanted to catch up with you a little bit. I've been busy hunting, so I haven't been able to post a video in a while, but taking a break on the hunting for a day or two, and got a project that I'm wanting to work on. I've got a old International, I don't know if it's International or if it's Farmall brand hay sickle here, or sickle mower, and it's had a lot of modifications over the years and repairs here and there, but it needs to be kind of refurbished to be able to be used. So that's what I'm going to get cracking on here shortly. And I've already taken off the drawbar plate that they used on the original setup, because this wasn't initially a 3-point connection, so I'm converting it to a 3-point connection. So that's the project we're working on. So bear with me for a minute, and I'll change camera angle and show you a little bit more about what I've done so far and what I still have to do. All right, guys, here's kind of a quick little look at what I'm dealing with. Right now I got it held with a rope because its original connection that holds it up isn't quite reliable. So I'm gonna have to deal with that. And as you can see over here, I've already taken the wheel off and gotta replace the rubber on it, and gotta wire brush the rim because it's in pretty rough shape. I got it kind of just kicked up with a jack stand at the moment so I could work on it, because I was trying to free up the lower pulley down here that's part of the wobble gear, or I guess you'd call it a pitman. But it was having some issues, but I finally got it freed up and rotating. I got to take it all apart and wire brush it, because there's a ton of surface rust where this sat in a wood line for years. My father-in-law actually gave this to me, and it sat in his weeds just on the edge of his forest there for, I think he said 5 years maybe. And the lower link that goes between the little wobble gear and the actual cutter head, it's actually a wood piece that had rotted away, and there's nothing left of it. There's just some bolts and a little metal plate. I got a new one, but the one I got was for a John Deere, and it's longer than this one needs. So I gotta modify it, but luckily the bolt pattern for the wobble gear, can't even think what they call it. I think they call it a pitman gear, but the bolt holes on it are the same pattern, so that'll line up. I just gotta shorten it on the other end. So that's what I got so far. You can see kind of all along this beam here, there's bolts and stuff. That was all from taking the wheel off and from taking the drawbar plate. That drawbar plate is right here on the ground. You can kind of see what it was originally and what it looked like. And I put these 3-point hitch pins on so that I'd have something that I could actually use to hook up. I'm going to have to put in a top link attachment so I can use the top link on the 3-point. And the squirrels love them hickory nuts. But got to put a top link on it, and I'm going to do it as a pivoting top link so that I can let the wheel actually do its own self-leveling on it. Because if I just did 3-point only and didn't have that rear wheel, if there was a dip or something, the mower would go up and down a lot more and potentially gouge into the ground. So I got to do that. Luckily this one actually has all of its PTO shaft. It'll need a universal gears replaced in it, or universal joints, not gears. Got to replace the universal joints in it, but it's got the whole thing. I've ended up with implements before that didn't actually have them, and it got to be a pain trying to actually get them for an affordable rate. So got to deal with that. Definitely got a lot of wire wheeling to do, and let's see, It's got a few little grease points I'll have to hit up after I get it all put back together, but I got to completely disassemble it and got to actually put fluid in. If you'll look, let's see if I can get it on screen here. Try to zoom in. If you look right here, it's actually a spot for gear oil. Alright guys, so the next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get the tractor, pull it on up here and hook it up to the 3-point hitch on here, and then I'll be able to actually use the 3-point setup to lower it and raise it so I can work on it. And also, for the time being, while I don't have a top link, I can run a chain or rope back to the rear of it to tie to the top link section on the tractor so that I can keep it up in the air, or I can raise or lower it however I need. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. I had to get the mower out of the way. Alright guys, before we can get this on here, I gotta take off my hay spike. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that taken care of off camera for a minute, and then I'll get back with you in just a second. let's see how this does. Okay. I didn't quite expect that result, but that's part of learning. All I got to do though is I got to get this back end up somehow and brace. Trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. I have to get out my come along and use it. Anyway, I'm going to do some figuring and I'll get back with you in just a minute. Alright guys, I had to shed a layer, it was getting a little hot. Figured out what I had to do, had to get my strap come along I got, and had to hook her up here to the top link pin and straight to the back near the wheel pivot. So I'm ratcheting that up, and once I get it up and in place, I'm going to tie off with an extra rope as a safety precaution, because you never just trust a strap to stay, and preferably you use chain. I'll have to see if I can hunt down my good chain for that. I don't remember if I got it being used on something or what. I haven't seen it in about a week. It's kind of life on a farm. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to this and I'll let you just watch on a time lapse. Okay guys, just want to show you here what I do as a tensioning knot, and I use this a lot. I actually use a marlin hitch, which is where you just take this, bend it over, and then push this through. And that gives you a spot so whenever you pull on this, you're pulling on this as well. Pulling this, pulls this, and I have this fed down through the top link pin. It's actually got two pins there, but I got the lower one of those two connected up here. Go to that, and then you just take this extra end you got and you slide it through this hole, and then you can actually cinch this down. See if I can back you up and get you a little better frame of reference. Looks good there. So you just watch this. You can actually take, I loosen or tighten that up there. Take and pull on this. You pull down and you pinch right here on this knuckle where it feeds through. Wrap it around itself and through. And that's adding a trucker's hitch to a marlin hitch. So I'm not sure if you could make out what I did there, so I'll back in real close, or I'll come back in real close and redo it so you can see. And the benefit of this is it actually comes apart real easy. So once you've cranked that down and you're pinching this right here, even though it's got a lot of pressure on it, it won't actually really move with very little force to hold it. You take just this little piece, feed it out around it, back through the little spot, pull it tight, and that locks it off. And then you got a slippery hitch there that will come undone real easy whenever you want to pull on it. So if you pull on this tag end, it'll actually undo real easy, but it's not going to undo on its own. It's not going to slip. And then as a little added security, I usually run this through here so it can't be undone without pulling it out of there. So once we have that done, then I just have to do something with the excess tag end that we got here. And that's just as simple as hanking it up and you take and do a curlicue like that, send your end through and pull it down tight on it, pull that down on itself there, and if you can manage it, do it down below that as well, and that'll give you a way to hang up that extra so it's not dangling down and getting in the way. So you can see there I got it all done up. It's not going to fall, and because it's ran through that, it's not going to undo itself. So now I could put all the tension down on this and it should hold. It'll stretch a little bit because most rope will, but I'm going to leave this come along strap on here so that I have kind of the double security method going on there. And then I'm going to just leave this on here while I'm doing this, while I'm getting this project done. I've already put my bale of hay in for the month because our critters go through about a bale a month. So I don't really need to use my tractor for anything else for the rest of the month. And what I was talking about earlier with the pitman arm, you can actually get a really good view in on it now. You have these 4 bolts here, which it's actually missing one, and it's on a metal plate. And it's got little metal on the bottom side, metal up here, and then a metal in the middle. And that fits on this little arm. And if you can tell, it's off-centered. So that when it rotates, it actually will move this bar back and forth. And it runs over to this arm here, which is covered in dirt. And that connects to this bar that has all these blades on it all the way up, and that'll move that back and forth between these combs and under these tabs right here, and that's how basically it shears the hay. Works kind of like a pair of hair trimmers if you think about it, just really old and really big. I got to do some work on the teeth of the comb, but I got all new blades for it and rivets. I also got bolts and tap set so I can see if I can't get it to where I can just bolt them in instead of having to rivet, which that's one of the modifications a lot of farmers do. And they'll do that so that they don't have to worry about finding their die grinder and getting it all ground off on the rivets. When they got to change the teeth, they can just unbolt and go. Previously, they just used rivets on everything. It is a little faster just to tap a rivet in, but you gotta drill them out and everything, and it gets to be a hassle. So bolts are actually a little better from my personal perspective, but that's just my perspective. So anyway, we got to deal with that, and this is probably going to be a multi-part series. But for now, I just got this secured on the tractor, and we're gonna move it in towards my garage. But to do that, I got other projects in the way I got to clear out. So just one thing after another. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this pulled down to the barn for now, and then I'll get started on my next project, which I'll try to make sure I keep those separate on the videos, so that we're only doing one project per video if I can manage it. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining me today, and I'd hope you'd hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. Help me out here, share it with your friends and your family. Help me grow the channel a little bit so I can actually get somewhere with this. I'm hoping to eventually get to a point where I'm earning money on this, since there's not a lot I can do as a disabled veteran as a job, because I got to work in short little spurts. Otherwise I end up down on my back with sciatic problems, so I have to work in little 2 to 3 hour spurts and do little bits here and there, and most employers won't work with you on that. So I'm trying to find a way to bring in a little extra income for my family and for the farm here, and trying to do that through YouTube. I know it'll be a while before we get there, but if you guys help out and you share it with your friends and your family, that'll help me get to the point of being monetized. I appreciate you watching and hope to see you next time.